princess. Let me just talk here. Hey guys, how is everyone out there? My name is Sarah Buyucan. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And on today's video, guys, let me just answer one of the question here. If how much is my sister-in-law expense when she applied to come here in Canada? So I'm not going to include how much I paid here in Canada to the agency who helped me to do the processing of the application, guys. Okay. So what I'm going to mention is how much they spend through in peso in Philippines. Okay, so first of all, guys, it's because I am sharing this about in the Philippines. So people out there who plan to apply to come here in Canada, wherever you are, guys, you know, one of the most important things you have to do, first of all, you have your birth certificate. You have to make it sure all the corrections, like no wrong spellings, and before you apply your passport to come here in Canada, guys. Okay, so if you're an applicant in Philippines, first thing you have to do, you have to get your birth certificate with you, your NBI, National Bureau of Investigation, and your before you apply your passports. Okay, because when I remember my time when I tried to apply for my passports, those names that I use when since from elementary, high school to college, when I realize when I go and apply for my like original birth certificate, I realized that my family name is wrong spelling to the spelling I use when from university and to my elementary grades. You know what I mean? So it's so hard. You need to spend all the money. You need to go to a lawyer for the correction. So it's just a headache when you're doing some corrections, especially you are in Philippines. Too much money to spend. So anyway, I am going to share with you according to one of my subscribers here. Her name is Kimberly Marilu. How much expense your sister-in-law going to Canada? I got all this information from my sister-in-law, guys. Okay, and it so happens she's busy something, so she's not with me today. So for my sister-in-law, because we hire her as a caregiver here in Canada. If you're one of the applicants out there, you have to know what type of job you're applying here in Canada, right? So you know yourself what is your eligibility. Okay, so for us, before we hire my sister-in-law, we don't know exactly if the immigration will approve us here in Canada to hire people from overseas, and we don't know exactly if the immigration is going to approve my sister-in-law to come here in Canada. Okay, so anyway, so that's what you're gonna do, guys. Birth certificate if you're in Philippines, birth certificate, your NBI, then before your passport. Okay, so because my sister-in-law applied for the caregiver under the home child care pilot program, we paid 60,000 peso in Philippines for the caregiver course. Okay, and that is 6 months, and she has to take the IELTS. Before she take the IELTS, I let her do the review first in Manila. How many weeks you go to Manila, Annabs? 2 weeks. So she went to Manila first to do the review, because I told her you have to make it sure it's her first time, everything. I want her to make it sure she's going to pass the examination. So we spend, so she paid the IELTS review plus the examination, and let's say 30,000 in peso, okay? And for the passport, guys, she told me that they pay 950 peso per person, okay? And for the NBI, National Bureau of Investigation, they paid 150 peso, okay? So the people who are going to have their NBI in Philippines is for the people who are 18 years above, okay? So if your kids are below, then you save money for that, okay? And for the birth certificate, you need to go to PSA, Philippine Statistic Authority, if you're in Philippines, okay? And if you are married, you need to have your Senomar. You know that if you're a Filipino, okay? And my sister-in-law said that if there's any correction from your birth certificate or your, like, you know, any documents, you have to pay 1,500 peso for each, okay? And you're going to Anabs, ayan natin pagbayaran na dyan 1,500. Oh, Registry Municipio, G Pilipinas, okay? You're going to the Okay, you're going to the municipal registry and you're going to do any corrections and you are going to pay 1,500 peso. So it is easier if I compare my time before, because when my time before, that was like 15, 18 years ago. It's so hard because you need to go to NSO in Manila. Oh my goodness sake. I'm just glad Philippines did something for that. Okay? You are applying for the caregiver to come here in Canada. You need to apply for your you need to submit your credentials here in Canada for the assessment. And for the assessment, you need to spend at least 200 something Canadian dollar. I believe I sent all the money to my agency here in Canada, and they did all the processing for my sister-in-law. They just only instruct my sister-in-law what to send, and where to send, and I paid the agency here for like 250 Canadian dollar. Okay, otherwise, what else my sister-in-law said? Oh, for the medical, guys, for the adult, my sister-in-law paid 13,270 peso. 14 years old below, they only do laboratory and x-rays, okay? And they paid 6,100 for each peso, okay? For the small kids, 5 years old below, it's just only they do a physical examination and they paid 4,140 for each. More money for the adult. And also for the biometrics, I paid here in Canada, so they just go to do their biometrics. So if you are one of the people who are applying for a jobs here in Canada, and if you are from Philippines, you need to save money for at least like 200,000 peso. First thing first, you need to apply for your birth certificate, your passport, and then when your passport is ready, you have to know yourself what type of job I have to apply. Am I going to apply for housekeeping? If you have your work experience as a housekeeping, you can apply for a butcher if you're working in Philippines or in other countries, like butcher, okay? Or if you want to apply for a caregiver, if you're working in some other countries like caregiving, either you taking care of small kids or elderly people. I'm going to make a separate video how much total all in all I spend here in Canada, because I'm not going to mention yet, because my sister-in-law family is still back home and we still do the processing of the paperwork, and we might pay some more amount of money. So I'm going to discuss to you guys once they have their visa, so at least I know how much we spend all in all. Okay, guys. And it's a big help for people out there who are aspirant to come here in Canada, and not just only for Philippines, because if you are from other countries and if you are going to choose to go to an agent who help you to do the processing of your applications, to help you to look for a jobs here in Canada, like what I did before I come to Canada. I went to an agency and this agency find employer for me, and of course I have to pay these people to do all the processing, to look for an employer for me here in Canada. So money is like, oh my goodness sake, I tell you, to come in Canada is not easy because money is involved. You need to have some money. And unless if someone is going to help you directly, like well, you know what, guys, it doesn't matter if you are direct hire. Even though you are direct hire, you still need to spend your money in back home, okay? I don't know where country you are, but you still, of course, you have to do the processing of your passport. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you for my next video. Like this, you silly.